These 5 supplements could be breaking you out. Well, hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about dietary supplements that trigger acne. Dietary supplements are a huge industry. It's estimated that over half of people in the US take some type of dietary supplement. And the perception amongst consumers is that supplements, are safe, but they do have side effects, they do have risks, just like medications. But in contrast to medications, supplements are not regulated, and therefore it's easier for them to make their way to you as a consumer. And the manufacturers are not necessarily required to provide any warning of potential side effects or caution against, potential contraindications. And there's a lot of variability in quality of supplements as well as the dosages that are being included in formulations. A lot of times what is listed on the label is not actually what is in the formula. You would be surprised. It's really the Wild West out there. There are multiple case reports and case series in the literature linking the supplements that we're going to talk about specifically with acne. Either acne for the first time or worsening of existing acne. And I've always pointed this out, association does not prove causation, but amongst all of these supplements, what really stands out is that in these case series, in these case reports, and from clinical experience encountering this myself, what is observed is that when the patient stops these supplements, the acne goes away. So that is more, along the lines of, there's something definitely playing a role here. Now, why might supplements cause acne? There are a lot of potential reasons. Some supplements may influence the hormones that lead to more oil production. Some supplements may act in similar ways that hormones, namely the androgen hormones, signal to the oil gland to make more oil. Some supplements might actually disrupt the composition of the sebum that comes out of your oil gland into your pore and favor irritation within the pore, as well as maybe make for more inflammation and lead to flares of acne. It seems like some supplements have a direct effect on the cells lining the pore, making them more prone to clogging. And with certain dietary supplements, not only is the patient getting more acne, but when you look at their skin under the microscope, their oil glands have gotten very large. There's hypertrophy of the sebaceous oil gland. What are some signs that the supplements you are taking are causing your acne? A very stereotypical pattern for acne to erupt as it relates to supplements, and what again favors that these are causative or contributory, is the way in which the acne erupts. The acne spots, they tend to all appear the same. It's called monomorphous. That really speaks to that the supplement that you are taking is the trigger, as opposed to if you're somebody whose genetics make it so that you have acne and you've got acne, you're going to have acne spots that are in different stages of healing. You're going to have some blackheads, you're going to have some whiteheads, maybe you're going to have some cysts. But with acne that is triggered by supplements, the acne all of the spots tend to appear the same. They can happen on the face, the chest, the back, the shoulders, and the eruption happens kind of all at once, like out of nowhere, and it's closely tied with starting the supplements. And it will resolve usually in about 2 to 3 weeks of stopping the culprit supplements. So, what are the culprits? Number 1 has to be vitamin B12. There has been a long-standing association with taking high doses of vitamin B12 and acne. A lot of people, come to the dermatologist saying, I just got this really, intense acne. They'll say, are there any new supplements? And oftentimes they're taking high amounts of B12. How high? 5 to 10 milligrams per week. It's not just the supplement that you might be taking, but they put B12 in a lot of things these days, like energy drinks, nutritional beverages, things that you might just view as food. Have B12 added. So you can actually end up getting to a high amount. Likewise, intramuscular injections of B12, getting a B12 shot, also can trigger acne for people. Now, it's a tricky slope. A lot of people, myself included, need to take a B12 supplement because they're not getting it from their diet. right? In those cases, make sure you're taking an appropriate dose is what I can tell you. So don't be afraid of B12 supplements. There are a lot of people who have to take them either because their diet limits B12 or because they have an underlying malabsorption problem. And, these people, myself included, we're not all getting rip-roaring acne from B12 supplements. It's not the poison, it's the dose. So you want to make sure you're taking the right dose. And that might vary depending on what your underlying medical reason is for taking the B12 supplement. So talk to your doctor about what the best dose is going to be for you. Something I have observed clinically when it comes to B12 as a culprit for acne is that I've often noticed that the acne, it's very small. The spots themselves are a lot smaller, and it tends to be less inflammatory. That's my observation, and there are case series that corroborate that observation, but it tends to be less inflammatory in comparison to, like nodular cystic acne, but it's very eruptive. Often a lot of little tiny comedones or pustules on the face or upper chest. That's a pattern I have mostly seen clinically. There's even a case report of a 5-year-old boy who got acne, an acne breakout from taking a multivitamin that had a high amount of vitamin B12. Why might B12 cause acne? There are a couple of theories, but honestly, there's no established reason. One reason may be that it is something that Cutibacterium acnes, which is the acne-causing bacteria that lives in your pore, it really depends on B12. So taking in B12 above and beyond what your body needs could just be going right to support the needs of the acne-causing bacteria. Now, if you're not familiar, that bacteria, there are actually different strains of that bacteria, and people who have acne, they have a tendency to have a certain type of strain in comparison to people who don't. So to what extent, maybe some people, that bacteria is more sensitive to high doses of B12 and leading to acne. It's hard to say, but B12 will increase something called porphyrin synthesis, which will lead to a lot more inflammation. That's another theory. And then others postulate that vitamin B12, when you're taking in high amounts and it's making its way into the oil, into your sebum, into your pore, that it might agitate the pore lining. Another potential mechanism is that things that are often added in B12 may be actually the culprit. So maybe it's guilty by association. Like sorbitol, for example, some people have thought might be playing a role in why some people get acne as it relates to B12. You're more likely to have acne with high-dose B12 supplements if they are combined with other B vitamins. A lot of you guys have shared with me over the years, and patients as well, that they've noticed if they take biotin supplements, they get acne. Now, biotin is less well reported, is not reported necessarily with acne, but I've definitely observed it, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the biotin in these supplements is such a high amount, the dose is quite high. Again, that's the problem with supplements. They're not regulated, so the dosing is, kind of up to their own discretion to use what they want. So they might put a high amount in there thinking that it will, make consumers think that they're getting a better product, when in reality could be getting a more problematic product. I've also mentioned before how biotin at high doses can interfere with the accuracy of certain blood tests. So high doses of biotin, whether it be by themselves or maybe are often accompanied by that B12, definitely can put you down the path for an acne flare. Again, it will clear up once you stop these or go to a more reasonable level. The next supplement is similar. It's vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 pyridoxine, high doses of that as well can also trigger acne breakouts for people. So it's B12 or B6 or the combination of them, or with other B vitamins including biotin. So together, B vitamins you want to be careful of. And like I said, I'm seeing this more and more these days. This isn't something that when I was growing up was necessarily as big of a problem, because now we have a lot more widespread availability of high doses of B vitamins and things. These electrolyte beverage drinks that a lot of people, myself included, enjoy, like I drink those for hydration. I don't really view them as a food, but like I read the ingredients, it's like, oh, you got to remember that this is additional B vitamins that you're getting in. Now your kidneys, if you're otherwise healthy, will be removing that. But again, like taking in high amounts can be harmful. And the acne flare is one clue. Red Bull was one of the first energy drinks that ever came out, but now it's a huge industry, just energy drinks alone. And they pump those things with a ton of B vitamins, like a B vitamin cocktail. And a lot of times the B vitamin doses are really high. So you might have somebody who's doing energy drinks, getting a lot of these B vitamins, plus caffeine, maybe messing up with their sleep because they're getting so much and they're not sleeping well, so they're getting run down. And that too can aggravate acne. So a lot of things could be playing a role there, not just the B vitamin alone. Number 3 is iodine. High doses of iodine definitely can trigger an acne breakout. It's called an acneiform eruption if it happens, in somebody who maybe doesn't necessarily have acne. But people who do have acne, if they take high doses of iodine, it certainly can aggravate their acne. Now, this is something that we've actually observed that actually happens in patients who get contrast for certain imaging studies, radio contrast that has iodine in it. They can get an acne breakout, but it definitely can happen from ingesting iodine supplements. And you also have to be careful because kelp has a high amount of iodine in it. It's a sea vegetable. But they sell kelp supplements where it's even more concentrated, and they definitely can aggravate acne, cause acne. There are, cases of people who take kelp supplements, not just kelp, but kelp supplements where they're, concentrating it into a little tablet, getting a lot of iodine. That can aggravate and cause acne. And it tends to be these little pustules more so than anything. As a matter of fact, coming back to iodine, one of the reasons why you've heard, and I've got videos on this, people will often talk about milk and dairy causing acne. That association is, not as well teased out as the internet might make it seem, but yes, there is an association with consumption of skim milk and acne. And one working hypothesis as to why that association may be is that dairy milk can potentially have a higher amount of iodine. Maybe it's thought secondary to high iodine in the feed that they're feeding the cows. And iodine may also be present in milking sanitization solutions. So that may also be making its way into the milk. Just a theory though, but iodine definitely can trigger acne. Now iodine, a lot of times you might find this in, thyroid supplements aimed at thyroid health. You have to be careful. Iodine, you can get from food, and so be careful with the iodine supplements. Then you have whey protein supplements. Whey protein, it's popular for people who are interested in muscle building. Whey protein, whey comes from is a milk-derived product. It specifically comes from the making of cheese. It's, kind of a byproduct of that. It is a protein, and it is thought to be good for muscle building because it has a high amount of branched-chain amino acids. Now, when it comes to whey protein supplements, a given scoop of whey protein powder, the whey protein in there, the amount is roughly that of 6 to 11 liters of milk. Now, if you're somebody who enjoys whey protein supplements and you don't have any issue with acne, I would say that's not a reason to stop per se. But if you are getting acne for the first time, take a look at what supplements you're taking, and whey protein is commonly associated. The working theory as to why that is that milk protein, part of also why it may be beneficial for putting on muscle is that it increases IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which is something that will lead to more hormonal signaling in the oil gland and lead to more acne. So anytime you have an increase in IGF-1, not only is acne a risk factor, but also for women, hirsutism, that's hair growth in a male pattern, hair growth on the face, the chest. So that's definitely something you can run into. IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, also increases the signaling through the androgen receptor. So it has some of the same effects as the androgen hormones on oiliness and acne, causing plugging of the pore, comedones, and then breakdown of sebum. As it gets oxidized, it's very inflammatory. That sebum is also feeding the bacteria that cause acne. Bacteria breaks that down and generates a lot of inflammation. And IGF-1 also enhances the division of the cells lining the pore. So they're trying to divide and they get stuck. You get more comedones. Now, one thing about the whey protein acne association that has always been called into question actually relates to supplement number 5, or supplement family, I should say, number 5, that causes acne, and that is anabolic androgenic steroids. And the reason the whey protein thing comes into question here is that a couple of things. Sometimes people who tend to take these whey protein supplements, bodybuilders, they also are more likely to be taking anabolic androgenic steroids, and maybe they're not always disclosing that. So is it the whey protein in these cases, or is it, you know, something else that these people are taking? Also, though, a lot of muscle building supplements specifically marketed for muscle building, the FDA has gone in and tested these and found that they are adulterated with anabolic androgenic steroid compounds, steroid-like compounds that, guess what, can definitely feed acne and cause actually pretty severe acne, all the way from an eruption of inflammatory nodulocystic acne to a rare acne subtype called acne fulminans. Acne fulminans is like the most severe type of acne because not only is it this intense nodulocystic scarring acne on the face, the chest, the back, but the patients develop fever, they can have damage to their liver, joint pain. It is an inflammatory, total body systems issue. Patients often have to go on a course of prednisone, which is a systemic steroid that suppresses the immune response. They also may have to go on a medication called Humira, TNF alpha inhibitor, to lower that inflammation. All right, y'all. So those are 5 supplements pretty strongly associated with acne, although a lot of people take these ingredients, supplements, and they have no issue with acne. So again, if you're on a supplement, especially if it's been recommended to you by your doctor, it's not causing any issues, then, don't worry about these things. But it's something to be aware of, especially if you're getting acne for the very first time. And, I just want to emphasize to you guys that supplements, they're perceived as harmless, as like the more natural route to go with things, but they really do have a lot of risks. And in contrast to a medication, they're not regulated. So these risks don't have to be reported to you. And again, the doses are not necessarily established. They don't necessarily have to adhere to any particular dosing range. And, it's definitely the Wild West, and you do have to be careful with supplements. Now, when it comes to choosing supplements, I always encourage everyone to go with supplements that have been third-party tested, like NSF certified for sport, because at least that way, you have a little bit of additional insurance that what is on the label is what you are actually getting. Because these cases that I told you where the FDA went in and found that certain muscle building supplements were adulterated with anabolic steroids, not only is that going to potentially cause really severe debilitating acne for you, but it can have a lot of other serious health impacts. And if you are doing bodybuilding or some type of competition, a lot of those substances are actually banned and you will be tested for them. So it could mess up your competition. Anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to say about supplements that may trigger acne. I hope this was informative. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.